lovelies. Some updates for you all. This will be a two-parter. Part one is going to be me explaining the not so good things, and then part two is going to be explaining the fun things coming. So, shortly after my last stream, some events occurred that led me to leave my Destiny clan, and I took a short break to minimize the backlash. It's not something that I want in my stream community. My break, though, became extended because Oakley's internal sutures from his surgery started rejecting. So he already had healed incisions and they reopened, and his sutures literally started poking out of his leg. It was, they were still attached internally. It was a mess. He had to go back in. They had to pull them out and snip them. I felt awful for him. And it was a whole thing. And when he was recovering, my area where I live had a low air quality week where the dust from the Sahara Desert in Africa blew across the Atlantic Ocean. This is like so mind-boggling to me that this happens, but I guess it's more common than I thought it was. But it made it a really not fun time for me. My asthma flared up really bad. I lost my voice for like a week. I was literally just like squeaking and having coughing fits. It was also not fun. And as you can imagine, streaming when you don't have a voice and you're having coughing fits would have been really tough. So that happened. And then as if that wasn't enough, the dust gave me a sinus infection, and then I went into an autoimmune flare, and it was my first flare in a while. The medicine that I've been on has been incredibly helpful. But I'm not really sure what triggered it. If it was the heat wave, we also had a really bad heat wave at the time. If it was the dust, if it was the infection that I got, or if it was just a combo of all of that. But the flare was an absolute doozy. It was a mix of a lot of my typical flare symptoms, but this time I also had an inflammatory reaction in my brain, and it caused inflammation in my optic nerve. My vision all of a sudden became really blurry. It hurt to move my eyes. I was super sensitive to light. And at one point, my pupils were not constricting like they should be when exposed to light. They got them to do it, which was relieving. But I was at the doctor 3 days in a row being monitored pretty extensively, and I narrowly escaped being sent to the ER for high-dose IV steroids, which honestly sounded awful. I told the doctor that I would go if I absolutely needed to, like if this was what I needed to do. But I do not like steroids. I don't like how they make me feel, and I feel I am relieved that I didn't have to do that. I am recovering, and I had a brain and like orbital MRI, and it confirmed that there was not long-lasting damage, which is wonderful. Right. But the whole experience was really scary, and I don't love the idea that my lupus or Behçet's is causing inflammation in my brain and in my nerves. I don't love that at all. And I have an appointment tomorrow with my rheumatologist. I'm going to talk with her about more medication options so that this hopefully doesn't happen again. I've determined it has happened in the past because I have a history of optic neuritis, and now that we know that this is attached to my autoimmune conditions, I don't want something bad to happen in the future. I feel like I got lucky this time. So, and all the times in the past. So I'm sure that there has been more that has happened. I feel like that was enough, but I'm sure there has been more, but those are the main events. And part two is incoming with the fun things now.